Good morning and welcome to the porch. Well, we thought we'd get out and do a video this morning. It's a little bit cooler weather than what we've been having, and so I'm going to go ahead and do the video on the porch. Oftentimes now we end up doing them in a studio just because of the weather, but when we can, we'll do them out here on the porch. I actually like the porch. It's just a nice little place to sit and relax and enjoy the morning or the evening, either one. And so that's what we're doing this morning. Now, Wanda and I just got back from having our Sunday morning breakfast, and we went to Denny's today. We hadn't been there in several years, and boy, they served a really good breakfast, so we enjoyed that. But I might as well move forward. Being an old man, I have a tendency to ramble sometimes, so let's see if we can get focused this morning. You know, sometimes I will see things and watch things, and it inspires me to think about them, what I've seen, you know. And I watched a program the other day, and the reason I did is the subject matter was something I was interested in. But what I'm going to talk about this morning is not that subject matter, but the way that the way that it was organized, I guess, is the best way I know to put it. Anyway, you had two people there, and they were pretty much 180 degrees difference in between what they believed on this particular subject. And I come down on one side of that fence. I'm not going to say which side it is because that's not important right now. Oftentimes when you tell people where you come down at, they quit listening before they really hear and understand why you're thinking the way you're thinking. So I'm not going to say which side of that fence I come down on. I'm not going to tell you what the subject matter was I was watching these two people discuss. I'm just going to talk to you more about the discussion and how they did it, because there were some things in it that really bothered me. So you had these two people and they were talking, and the person that I actually agreed with, we're going to call this person number one, and we'll call the other person number two. And I didn't agree with their belief system in this particular area. But that's right. It's nothing against them. I just didn't agree with their belief system. But anyway, the person number two was more the guest than anything else, so they were invited in there. Person number one, of course, was the host. And as the person number one got to talking about the other person's belief system, questioning them about it, person number two was very organized in their thought process. They were able to articulate what they believed very well. Now, keep in mind, I didn't agree with what they believed, but they articulated it really well. They stayed calm. They had their ducks in a row, as it were. And the other guy that I did agree with, he did, and I almost hate to put it this way, but he did such a poor job of articulating his case that even though I think he's right, anybody watching might have given that debate to person number two. And maybe that's the way some people believe, and if it is, it just is. But for me, I don't believe that way. I believe the way person number one did. But person number two just articulated their case so well. They had, like I said, had their ducks in a row. And number one is this individual was trying to articulate his case. He got frustrated, and the more frustrated he got, the less effective he was in getting his point across. And before it was over with, he tied so many of his bullet points together without giving good explanation as to what the bullet points were and what they meant to him. He just tied them all together because he got in a position he just wanted to win the argument. That's never a good position to get in, guys, whether you're right or wrong or halfway right, halfway wrong. Once you get frustrated and all that matters is for you to win the argument, you've already lost the whole deal. Okay? And you may say, well, Paul, why are you talking about this? I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about this. I see this almost on a daily basis in one form or the other. Somebody says they believe something, they took a very strong stand on it, and then when you go to asking them logical questions, they just fall apart. And then they get mad. And then a lot of times they get nasty and go to calling people names because they got mad and they don't have a good argument, good bullet points, or anything. At the end of the day, they really don't even know why they believe what they believe, and that's really the truth. And they don't do it. See, this doesn't help any of us when people go there. So the reason I'm having this talk this morning is this. I want you to think about this. Think about, if you believe something, if somebody asked you 3 questions about why you believe that way you do, could you articulate that in a way that made sense and that might even convince the other person that you're right, if you are right, but might even convince the other person? Because, see, if you can't convince a person of why you believe what you believe, you really need to question yourself as to why you believe it. Now, we in business, and I managed businesses ever since I was 19 years old. And one of the things that I learned in business, if you go ask the boss if you can have a tool, you better have a case for why you should have that tool. Now you may say, well, I believe I need that tool. Well, that's fine, and you probably do. Maybe not, I don't know. But if you do, you need to come to him with at least 3 good reasons, and probably 5 would be better, but 3 would be a good start. I need that tool because it will cut my labor in half. I need that tool because it will actually make the product do a better job or look better. I need that tool because that tool is safer for us than the way we're doing it. See, that's just 3 reasons. Those are legitimate reasons. And usually if you go to a boss or a manager with that, we call it an ROI, return on investment. But if you go to him with those 3 reasons, most likely if he's a reasonable, sensible guy, he's going to give you what you need. Now, what happened there if you get what you need? Well, your workplace just became better. You're not stressed out when you go home. Your home life just became better. See why it's important to know why you believe something or why you're moving in a direction? So many people, and I'm telling you, I've asked a lot of people this. I managed, like I said, since I was 19 years old. And when people come in my office and they'd ask for something, I didn't mind getting it if they needed it. But what I wanted them to do is come in there and tell me why they needed that so that I could make a good decision based on their information. And their information was always better than mine, so I wasn't looking for a reason not to give them what they needed. I was looking for a reason to give them what they needed. Now, in life, if you believe something, you want to get along with other people, learn how to articulate why you believe what you believe. Be able to answer the hard questions if you need to. And here's the thing, don't fall into this, guys. Don't fall into this. Don't fall into the place that it doesn't matter whether I'm right or not. I've got to win the argument. You lose every time you do that. If the other person has a better argument and it makes more sense than yours and they can convince you of that, if the facts are there, facts and truth are the same thing. If the facts are there, the truth is there. Believe the truth and yield to the truth. Make a world a lot better place to live, guys. Well, this was kind of almost an old man's rant this morning, guys. And I didn't mean for it to be, but I just, it's really kind of near and dear to my heart that people operate logical, operate with good sense. So anyway, we do these videos in hopes of helping you. And you may say, well, Paul, are you perfect in all this? No, I learned most of this the hard way. But we want you guys to do better. We want to take some of the School of Hard Knocks lessons that I've learned and teach them to you, and maybe you won't have to go through the School of Hard Knocks on this stuff. But we love you. we care about you. We want you to do well in life. And with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. You guys, may God bless and have a good day.